Senator Britt.
Thank you, and I really appreciate Senator Cornyn, Senator Schmidt calling this hearing. This is incredibly important. I mean, you look at what the administration did, you look at what the Democratic Party did, you look at what the legacy media did. It is absolutely inexcusable. It is not only dangerous, it's disgusting. And the American people deserve better. And the fact that we have none of my Democratic colleagues over here, that this entire dais is empty, that what they allowed to happen, that they are not interested in correcting it for the future is absolutely mind-blowing. And so when we're looking at what Joe Biden did while he was in office, you have a disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. I mean, leaving equipment, leaving allies, changing the way the world viewed us. You look at an emboldened Russia, Iran. You look at what happened, obviously, with China and those conversations with Joe Biden. You look at millions flooding across our border. You look at a ton of unaccompanied children coming across, hundreds of thousands. You look at hundreds of thousands of Americans dead because of fentanyl poisoning. You look at record high inflation. Who was in charge? And the fact that not one Democrat colleague can show up and try to get answers to that, I hope the American people see that for exactly what it is. And so my questions to you is, how do we prevent this in the future? So we know that the 25th Amendment in the 1960s, we take a look at that. Section 4 was purposefully vague to allow for some flexibility. Clearly, it either didn't work or we have some people we need to hold accountable for not stepping up. So I want to know from you all, what do we need to do? Do you think that there need to be more guardrails when it comes to Section 4? Do you think that we need some more standards to evaluate that? And if so, what should those standards be? And Professor Harrison, I'd like to start with you.
Senator, this is the question about further implementation of the Section 4 is one that has not received a lot of attention because fortunately, the country has not needed it very often. I think that this is a situation in which Congress's power is pretty limited because the Constitution, by design, put a somewhat vague but nevertheless meaningful concept, which is ability on the part of the president
to act, and it also means
in the hands of
faith.
a political process. That's the
Yes,
last thing
and
I'll
good
say.
faith.
Yes.
And I don't think, obviously, we don't have that here. Mr. Wald, do you have any opinion on that?
Yes, Senator. So you said, should we hold folks accountable and should there be some reforms? The answer would be both. Yes. Right. So, you know, your colleague on the Democrat side who did attend, Senator Welch, said, hey, this is just kind of retrospective. We need to move on. I would strenuously disagree with that. The only ability to move forward is if there's an accounting of what was undertaken under the Biden staff, the Biden personnel, the bureaucrats, and the cabinet. And one thing I'll just say is this very issue was debated by Republicans in 1988 in the Miller Commission report at the University of Virginia. Republicans had the open and honest, transparent discussion about the end of the Reagan presidency and whether or not there were other guardrails that needed to be imposed on the 25th Amendment. Some discussions were about the inclusion of a mental health professional on the White House medical team, whether the Surgeon General should oversee the inclusion of medical reporting as part of Section 4, Clause 4 of the 25th Amendment. All I'll say is all of those things have been set aside. There has been no legitimate discussion in the years since about how to make the 25th Amendment more robust and how it could actually operate in the instance that the president lacked capacity.
Right, and do we need to more clearly define what unable means in the 25th Amendment?
Oh, I think most certainly, and I think there should be, look, you know, the other issue, and a number of legal academics, former colleagues of Professor Harrison, have taken this up over the years. I mean, Professor Calabresi wrote about this 20 years ago, that there needs to be a more precise definition. And there are lots of issues related to succession.
There clearly does, because, I mean, even from all of us from the outside, we're saying there is a problem. And the fact that we could get no one on the inside to actually take a look at what they already knew to exist and then be able to hold them accountable, we have to have other guardrails moving forward. And that is absolute. So we need to be talking today about what those guardrails are.